Now here refutation, etc. should be connected as explained above. To the questions: does an I, when past, exist? And so forth, he assents, because it exists even when visual perception, etc. is given up. Being asked: does one see? And so on, he, however, rejects, because of the function and nature of those objects of consciousness. To the question: is the function of knowing done by that past coming to know? He rejects, because, owing to the ceasing of that process of knowledge, 49 he does not see its function. Being asked again, he makes the present coming to know as the past through the pretext that the present coming to know of the past object is the past coming to know because of the knowledge of the past objects, and assents because there is the necessity of functioning with that past coming to know. Then the Sakavatin, without giving a chance for pretext, asked: by that same past coming to know does one understand ill? And so on. The other rejects, because there is the absence of this fourfold function through the cognition of the past object. The same argument applies to the question about future knowing. The questions about present knowing and comparisons are clear in meaning. To the question: does lust, etc. of his past exist for the arahan? He assents because of the destruction of lust, etc. To the question: is he now lustful, etc. he rejects because he fears it would contradict the suttas and the arguments. Thus one should understand all according to the text. Subsequently, the meaning of the expression if that just exists should be understood as if that past, yet existing lust exists. The past which exists is past. The present and the future which exist are not past. So the past may be not past, or that which is not past may be the past. Therefore the past may not be the past, not past may be the past. Similar is the argument in the case of the future and the present. In proving by the suttas, the opponent asks: is it wrong to say the past exists, the future exists? While the Sakavatin assents. Again, the opponent, for the sake of his own view, asks: whatsoever material quality, monks, etc. In the second argument, the question is of the Sakavatin, while the other assents. Thus, in all places, the question and the affirmation should be understood. In order to prove that the future exists, the suttas, quoted by the opponent, viz. Was it not said by the Exalted One, if, monks, there be lust after, pleasure in, craving for edible food, etc. And the expression at the end of the sutta pointed out by him, viz. there doth exist in the future re-becoming, etc. do not amount to a state of existing, but refer to certainty of result, given the consummation of the conditions. This is the sense of the suttas. The rest is everywhere clear. The controversy on everything exists is ended. 7. 50 Now follows the controversy concerning of what does one's past, etc. consist. Therein does one's past consist in bodily and mental aggregates? Is asked by the opponent, who regards that the past and the future both exist, because the aggregates and other factors of our experience retain their state as a sort of complex self. The Sakavatin's assent yes summarizes the past as aggregates. Again, the opponent asks: does the past exist? The Sakavatin rejects, because according to the Nirodhapatha Sutta its existence is denied. In this way, should the meaning be understood in the questions relating to the organs and objects of sense, to the elements, in those relating to the future, and in those which follow both in the affirmative and negative methods, from a comparison with the present, and in those which begin with does the past consist in material form? In proving by the suttas, however, the Sakavatin asks: is it then wrong to say, etc., Therein these do not exist means these mental properties do not exist. The opponent assents. Yes, because he regards that these in the state of aggregates, and the rest, do exist. Then the Sakavatin quotes the Suttas in order to prove that these do not exist. The second question, too, is of the opponent. The Sakavatin assents. The opponent then quotes the Suttas, whereby he proves that one's past and future consist in aggregates, and so forth. The statement these exist, although carried, is as if not obtained. The controversy on does one's past consist in aggregates, etc., is ended. 8. Now follows the controversy on some of the past and future as still existing. Therein the Sakavatin asks, does the past exist? In order to break down the opinion held, for instance, by the Kasapikas, that the past survives, as presently existing, in part. The opponent answers. Some of it exists. This is the sense of it. Because the opponent holds the view that things of which the results are not yet matured exist, and things of which the results are matured do not exist, therefore the Sakavatin asks. Have some things of the past ceased? Its meaning is, you think that some things of the past exist, some do not. If so, it follows that some things of the past 51 have ceased, some have not ceased, but are existent. In the expression departed and so forth also, this is the argument. Since by the expression of things which are with incomplete result, some exist, the opponent would judge that things which are with incomplete result exist, and since these things are past, therefore, in order to question him, the Sakavatin asks. Is it a fact that of things which are with incomplete results, some exist, some do not? Just as in the case of such past things some exist. Things of which the results are matured has been said in order to question him with reference to things which, according to him, do not exist. Things which are without result has been said in order to question him with reference to the indeterminate. Thus with respect to these three groups the affirmation and the negation in all the direct and indirect methods should be understood. Of past things, some are with complete results, and some are with incomplete results. Those with complete results are so called because, of the act producing rebirth, life, and decease are its results, and the maturing of that result accordingly lasts from birth to death. This has been said with regard to such past things. Granting that such past things will become mature as to their effect, the Sakavatin asks. Can they be said to exist? Just as the highly effective virtues of a virtuous person are said to exist even while he is asleep. Similarly, because of the common usage the opponent assents. Granting that they will, in this respect, mature, when he is asked next, can they be said to present? The opponent, who holds the view that since actions are known to be imperishable, therefore there is an accumulation of actions, assents. To the question, does the future exist? And so forth, he replies that some of it exists because of things that are arisen. The rest is clear everywhere as said above. The controversy on some of the past and future as still existing is ended. 9. 52 Now follows the controversy on applications in mindfulness. The groups holding special views which arose later. To wit, the Andhakas, comprising the subgroups of the Pubbasiliyas, Aparasiliyas, Rajajarikas, and Siddharthikas, held the opinion that the objects of mindfulness, namely, the body and the rest, were themselves the conscious subject. Mindfulness. This they deduced from the passage in the Satipatthana Yutta. I will show you, monks, the induction and the cessation of applications in mindfulness. To break down this opinion, the Theravadin puts the question. The opponent assents. Inasmuch as patthani is lit. Applications mean those things to which one applies. Applies what? Mindfulness. Mindfulness applications mean the objects which form the basis of mindfulness. Thus such mindfulness has patthanius as its field. But who apply? They who are mindful. Sadayo. Thus mindfulness applications also mean those who apply mindfulness. So also the two views oppose each other in succession. The Sakavatan's question is with regard to those who do not follow this order and emphatically assert that all cognizable things constitute applications in mindfulness. The opponent assents, because of objects of mindfulness. Being asked, do all cognizable things constitute mindfulness? He, however, rejects, because all cognizable things do not constitute mindfulness. Herein the expressions leading to extinction, and so forth, are attributes of the way. Leading to extinction means that the way leading to the same goal attains nirvana, which puts an end to corruptions. Leading to enlightenment means it leads to awakening knowledge of the fourfold truth. Leading to disintegration means it leads to the making for an undoing of the cycle of existences. Thus applying these terms he asks, do all cognizable things constitute such a wag as leads to the same goal? Not akin to the fetters, ties, etc. has been said in order to question about its transcendental state. Recollection of the Buddha and so forth have been said by way of questioning about its divisions. Does the eye organ constitute an application in mindfulness? And so forth have been asked by way of questioning about the division of all cognizable things. Herein also negation is because of mindfulness, and affirmation is because of the object. In all these questions, the meaning should be understood thus. Proving by the Suttas is quite clear. The controversy on applications in mindfulness is ended. X. 53 Now follows the controversy on existence in immutable modes. All things exist in time, by way of material form and the rest, as past, present, or future. But that there is no past that is at once future and present, nor any future and present that are also past. And therefore all things exist only as thus, and not as thus one. This is the opinion held now, for instance, by the Andhakas and others, such as the Pub-Basiliyas, etc. named above. Of them the Sakavatan asks, does the past exist? The opponent answers, it exists on this wise, it does not exist on that wise. Herein on this wise means only as thus. Then, says the Sakavatan, does the past exist on this wise, does it not exist on that wise? And if this same past does not exist as thus, then is also existence non-existence? The opponent denies, because it cannot, in its character as past, be both existent and non-existent. Being asked for the second time, he affirms, because it can exist in its own state only, it does not exist as anything else. Thereafter, the Sakavatan asks, is the state of being a state of non-being? Which means is it as character, as existent, a character as non-existent? In this way, the meaning should be understood on all occasions. At the end, however, the opponent, saying that material form exists on this wise, it does not exist on that wise, and so forth, establishes anyway his view that the past exists on this wise, not on that wise. But as it has been improperly established, it is not established at all. The controversy on it is thus is ended. Here ends the great chapter. Chapter 2. I. 54 Now follows the controversy on conveyance by another. Whether there can be impure discharge from an arahan is asked by the Sakavatan concerning a notion now entertained by some, for instance, by the Pub-Basiliyas and Aparasiliyas. These have noted seminal discharge among those who profess arahanship, in the belief that they have won that which is not won, or among those who profess arahanship, yet are overconfident and deceitful. And they wrongly attribute to devas of the Mara group the conveyance hereof, to such. The opponent affirms it. Now the question, has an arahan lust is asked, because seminal discharge is caused by lust, and its meaning is clear. Inasmuch as the devas of the Mara group have not seminal discharge, and inasmuch as they, taking that physical impurity of others, convey it to the arahan who has not got it, therefore, with respect to the question, have then these devas themselves, etc. 1. He denies. No, in them it is non-existent. But to the question, have not then these devas themselves, etc. he assents, because he holds the view that they produce and convey it. The question, do they convey it through the pores of the body? 1. He denies, because he sees that its conveyance would have to be effected through the pores of the body like that of ghee and oil. Well, then is a particle used in the sense of a resolution. The meaning is, they think, we shall cause doubt as to his attainment to be laid hold of, and thus endeavoring they convey it. Being asked, is there doubt in an arahan? He denies with respect to doubts about the 8 points stated. Being asked again, he affirms, because, as to certain other matters, there can be no definite conclusion, namely, about the name, family, etc. of a given woman or man, and the like. By the expression, is there any specific repository in him? It is asked, is there any specific repository for that impurity, like those for stool and urine, in him? The expression of one who is proficient in his own field has been said concerning the freedom by reason of an arahan who is proficient in his own field of arahanship. The expression of one who is proficient in other things has been said concerning the freedom from both ways of one who is proficient. 55. Both in his own field and in other 8 attainments. The rest here should be understood according to the text. The controversy on conveyance by another is ended. 2. Now follow the 3 controversies, namely, 1. That an arahan is liable to be ignorant. 2. That he is liable to get perplexed, and 3. That he is liable to be surpassed by others. Because an arahan who has no knowledge of such things as the name, family, etc. of a given woman or man, and the like, is therefore liable to be ignorant. 2. He is liable to get perplexed about facts concerning everyday life. 3. He is also liable to be surpassed in such knowledge by others, because it comes to him, is explained and disclosed by others. These views are held, for instance, now by the Pubbasiliyas. In order to refute these, their views, the Sakavatin puts queries in this and the next 2 discourses. The affirmation and negation are of the opponent. In all the questions and answers, the meaning should be understood following the text. The controversy on ignorance, perplexity, and inferiority of an arahan is ended. 3. Now follows the controversy of articulate utterance of one who has entered into jhana. Some, for instance, at present the Pubbasiliyas and others, hold that anyone who has entered into first jhana, at the moment of attaining the first or stream winner's way, utters the truth. Sorrow. Referring to this, the Sakavatin asks, is there articulate utterance on the part of one who has entered into jhana? Standing on his own view, the opponent assents. Being asked again, everywhere? With reference to the 3 worlds of life, he rejects in respect of the incorporeal. Being asked, always? In respect of time, he rejects regarding the time for all other attainments, excepting the time when one enters into the first jhana, at the moment of attaining the first way. To the question, for all persons who have entered into jhana? He denies with regard to those who have attained worldly attainments. Being asked, for all such attainments? He rejects with regard to the supramundane beginning with the second jhana and all mundane attainments. 56. Bodily expression means bodily intimation produced by spiritual advance. The thoughts which give rise to vocal intimation are also called bodily intimations. This being so, the Salravadin asks in order to urge, why is there no bodily expression too in such a person? The opponent both rejects and affirms, because of his own view. Now, if anyone, at the moment of attaining the way, utters the word sorrow, he should also utter the word origin of sorrow, and so forth. If he does not utter this, he should not utter the other. To press this, the questions beginning with does he utter the word sorrow, knowing the fact of ill, have been put. The opponent, however, both rejects and affirms because of his own view. By his view he understands that one who has attained the first supramundane jhana has got insight into sorrow, knowing the fact of ill, and that, by the hearing hereof the supramundane knowledge of the fourfold truth is meant the ear whereby one hears the sound of two contacts, namely, the contact of ear and that of mind. Is it wrong to say, etc.? Means if anyhow there is no articulate utterance on the part of one who has attained the first way. Then it should not be said without discrimination, that there is articulate utterance in such a person. The rest here is clear in meaning. In the sutta, namely, 0 Ananda, Abhibhu, disciple of Sikhan, the Exalted One, etc., which has been quoted at the end along with the testing with other suttas, the consciousness of attaining the way, which gives rise to articulate utterance, also produces the bodily expression. And because this is the consciousness of the first supramundane jhana, therefore, the proposition is not proved. The controversy on articulate utterance, during ecstasy, is ended.